What's up guys, Celtoro Cards here, welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the 5 reasons why you, yes you, should be buying into vintage soccer. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. So obviously there's going to be many reasons why you should be collecting vintage, especially vintage soccer, and I can go on, but I'm going to put it into 5 little parts and 5 reasons why. So the first reason why is rarity. Now obviously nowadays everyone knows that vintage is going to be more rare than modern soccer, or modern in general, as obviously there's mass production. Obviously they print loads and loads of stickers and cards nowadays, even though they are numbered. Obviously, you know, you've got your 1-on-1s, out of 5s, out of 10s, out of 25s, and so on and so forth. Recently, obviously, now I believe in soccer, the highest number now you can get is 399 out of 399. I think obviously that started in the FIFA World Cup Prism, and normally in baseball this is normal. In baseball they do up to out of 1999 out of 999, which I just think is that, like, it's a bit stupid, like how much numbered there are, and obviously the people doing the autos. But vintage wise, rarity, you don't know how much of that card there is. You know, this card is obviously not numbered, it's a vintage card, and it's just like, how many of these are in the world? You just don't know. For example, this card obviously I've got in my hand here, I think literally it's paused, but that Hento there, in 3 years of collecting, I've literally only seen this card once, and that was the time I bought it. So it's just, I think it's a bit of a fun thing as well. It's a bit of an annoying thing. Obviously, I want to find this card to, you know, complete my collection of, you know, say, you know, Puskas or Di Stefano or, you know, Dixie Dean. But it's just so rare and so hard to find, which is obviously a bit annoying, but I think it's a fun part of it. And obviously I think the rarity comes along as well with, you know, it surviving hundreds of years. No, not hundreds of years. Well, it could be, but, you know, over 100 years. For example, one of the cards I really do want is a Mazea. Mazea is, you know, a player who played in the 1910s and 20s. You know, that's over 100 years old. But to get a card like that in a good condition, it's just rare. And that's why, you know, I think, you know, everyone says, you know, your 1-on-1s are, you know, going to do the most money, the out of 5s, because they're rarer. It's the same with vintage. You know, the rare cards are going to win. It's like if you see a Pele card that, you know, you see everywhere. Like, for example, I think the 1972 Soccer Sun, it's got like the little cigarette cards there. They come up so many times. But if you had to talk about, you know, I think the 1958 Mazzata or something with the Garincha and Pele, that doesn't pop up often. But compared to other sports, I would say, with rarity, I think, you know, vintage baseball, vintage basketball, vintage football, there is so much. But compared to vintage soccer, which obviously soccer is the biggest sport in the world, sorry Americans, it's true, even though it is football not soccer, it's the biggest sport in the world. But cards and sticker wire, vintage, there's not a lot, and that's why I think it's better to collect that than obviously, you know, your vintage basketball and all that. I'm not saying don't collect it, but I think, you know, look at the opportunities that vintage soccer gives. Second one for obviously why you should collect vintage is just aesthetics. Some of the cards and stickers are so beautiful. I'll put some on screen here, just here. So normal legends like Mazea, Pele. Obviously you got some Puskas, you got Hento. I put some of their nice looking cards on screen, and it just makes me think they're just so beautiful, and the way they designed cards and stickers back in the day, and the way you used to get them as well. Like sometimes you'll trade in your chocolate bars to, you know, get the cards and stickers that you wanted. Sometimes you'll do, I think it's washing powder. I think this one that I've got here, Vitalmo Zara, yeah, literally here, I think it says Lelinthe, let me see, chocolate. Yeah, it just basically says about chocolate, that you have to trade in your chocolate. And sorry, my hands are a bit green. I've washed my hands, but I've had some tackies. I thought I'd try them out, and they're decent, but they're quite hot. Yeah, I just think some of the cards are just beautiful, and some of them are a bit hilarious as well. Like you've got this one, obviously a Hento. I had to show a Hento in this video. It's just they make Hento look 10 foot tall, and I think that's just so cool and, you know, random. And then made obviously the player look like 1'1". It's LGL height, but no firing shots. But honestly, some of the cards and stickers that you can get, it's just so cool. I just think this is really cool. Obviously, you got the description in the back. I think they're just so nice. And this is only a selection. This is a handful. I think some of the best cards and stickers where they come from. I think Italy are amazing, amazing. Spain, not being biased, I think is one of the best. In the 1920s, I don't have any on me now, but you know, Alcantara, you've got Zamora, you've got Samata. Who else? I'm trying to think. I think that's some of the players obviously there, but some of the cards, it's just artwork, honestly, and it's so beautiful. I'll put a picture up here of just some of them, and one of them, if I think it's about 20 cards, you put them all together, and literally they're literally just like a work of art of the player. Then work out to be a player, but it's like this one, Bobby Moore, obviously 1963, second year. It's just so easy and simple, but it's just so beautiful and effective. You know, we've got this one. I think this is quite cool. The reason why you see the two lines, they draw that on and they make it look like a collar. I think was quite cool. This one, like just the way they draw the kit, I think it's just so cool. And then even this one, apparently this is Hento's most beautifulest, most good-looking, prettiest, or something like that card out there. I just think it's beautiful. Like obviously, they name where the World Cup is. It's just beautiful, and I think that's another reason why you should collect vintage. Well, soccer in general. Number 3 is a community. I'm not saying, you know, all communities are bad, but I realise the vintage community is like one of the nicest places on earth. It's literally, I think it's, there's no disrespect, but I think a lot more people have lived, more older people. Obviously, you get your younger people everywhere, but they're really nice. They'll help you out, like, you know, just shouting out some names. You've got Last Chancey cards, you've got Seb underscore cards, I think, JW7, you got obviously El Ray Al, the GOAT of in all vintage soccer. If you want to learn anything about soccer, vintage, watch his YouTube channel. It's unbelievable, and his collection, honestly, it mind blows me when he said, "Oh, nice Hento over there on Discord." Honestly, I was crying. I was like, God has messaged me. But yeah, I feel like the community is so nice, and they'll help you with anything. There is a Discord. I'll put it in the description, or just message me on L_Toro_cards. There's vintage Discord there. So many helpful people. There's a little chat saying seeking info. Obviously, you can put the card in there, wondering what set it is. And 99 times out of 100, should be 9 times out of 10. But they know what set it is, and it's really weird. And sometimes they'll show cards that you never knew existed. So I think that's another reason. Obviously, the community is so nice. Not saying obviously the modern community is not nice, but a lot more nicer. You see less drama there. Next point really is what I'm going to say is Wales. There's just so many. I've got to cut it down. But I think, you know, I would say it's a pro and con. Is if you're looking for an investment, I think vintage the way to go. But this is long term. You're not going to make a quick flip on a card. Say, for example, I bought this card. I'm not going to sell it next week for more. Only if you buy it, obviously, for dirt cheap and you got a maiden still and all that. Obviously, that's all good. But vintage is a long hold. I believe, you know, it's not even in one, you know, this year, next year, in 2 years. I believe it's going to be in 10 to 15 to 30 years hold. And then that's when I think vintage as a whole would boom. You know, what's the chances of, you know, getting this Hento again? It's very slim. I've only seen, so this is the only one grading, and it's obviously the highest. A 5 to get in vintage is just amazing. But yeah, I just think as well, another thing to add on with the vintage, with say pop reports. I think, did I mention in the video? I think I did. I think it's quite crazy. Yeah, and I think another thing with vintage, which is a bit annoying. Obviously, you got your Haaland cards and your Messi cards and your Ronaldo cards. They are expensive, but sometimes in vintage, it does get a bit pricey. For example, a Mazea, I didn't know about, I'm being honest, before I started the hobby, and I thought, who's Mazea? No, haven't heard of him. But, you know, going into the vintage hobby, you can learn so much. It's the learning process, which I really like, and discovering new cards, discovering new sets, discovering new players. for example, obviously Mazzeo, so Italian striker, played in the pre-war. I think the one of the Italian stadiums named after him, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And some of his cards, it's crazy. I think they go for about, I think to get a decent one's about $500, and I'm like, that's crazy. And it's like, for example, Dixie Dean. I think Dixie Dean is quite a popular one in the pre-war world. But yeah, I think with vintage, I think I'm rambling on, but I think it's a really, really good place to start collecting. Obviously, I think most people, what they do, they buy modern, they transition to vintage, which I've done, and then they transition into pre-war, which I think I'm slowly doing. And obviously, there's not just soccer. You've got Formula One racing. I think that's quite cool. You've got cricket, golf. You've got, as you can see on my channel, I think 4 or 5 videos ago, I got Shakespeare from 1901 Ogden. I think was quite cool. And yeah, I just think vintage is so fun to collect, and I'm going to be making a few more videos on vintage just because I've had a couple suggestions. I might do like a little series, which I was planning on doing, talking about which players I do think is underrated, what players are overrated maybe, so it might be a hot take. And obviously most players nowadays have got cards and stickers. In the vintage days you had postcards most of the time. There's a player called Jose Andrade, probably Uruguay's best ever player, won the World Cup. Yeah, the first ever World Cup, hosted in Uruguay, and obviously Uruguay won 2-1 or 2-0 against Argentina. He was, the first, icon. Normally people say the first icon in football was Pele, worldwide icon, everyone knew. The first one realistically was Jose Andrade. And this is what, the learning process about it is, and I think it's just so fun to learn about vintage. I know I've rambled on a bit at the end, but just giving you some tips and reasons why I think you should collect in vintage. It's going to get better, obviously, the hobby. And yeah, well, anyway, sorry for rambling on, guys, at the end. Thank you for watching, and if you did like the video, put it in the comments section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We've just passed, I think, 110 subscribers, which is amazing. We're going to be going to the London Card Show, so make sure you won't miss out on the vlog, which will be coming out probably on this next day that London Car Show happens. So I'm going on the Saturday, I'm not going on the Sunday. Got a holiday coming up, so obviously I'm only going for one day. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Let me know if you want to hear more about vintage on the channel, and yeah, without further ado, thank you for watching, and see ya.